Hey guys, JV here with more Battlefront 2 news. Yesterday morning, analyst Evan Wingren commented on the recent controversy surrounding the game and how it's affected EA's stock. Shares of Electronic Arts have declined 10%, which has Wall Street worried about the sales of Battlefront 2. Wingren said, "We view the negative reaction to Star Wars Battlefront 2 and industry trading sympathy as an opportunity to add to Electronic Arts, Take-Two, and Activision Blizzard positions. The handling of Star Wars Battlefront 2 launch by EA has been poor. Despite this, we view the suspension of microtransactions in the near term as a transitory risk. Gamers aren't overcharged, they're undercharged, and we're gamers. This saga has been a perfect storm for overreaction as it involves EA, Star Wars, Reddit, and certain purist gaming journalists outlets who dislike microtransactions. The issue here is that any financial analyst can call this an overreaction, and they could very well be right, but he's missing the point. He's focusing on the cause instead of the effect and shifting that cause blame towards the consumers who clearly spoke their mind about this issue. No, Mr. Wingren, it's not the consumer's fault for rejecting microtransactions and predatory business practices. In fact, there's nothing more natural, and we should expect this in an age where information spreads like wildfire. Everyone knows because they're reacting to what EA and DICE have done. What financial analysts should be focusing on is the effect of all this drama, the fact that everywhere you look on the internet, you'll find someone tarnishing EA's name or making memes in reference to their recent debacles. The fact that Disney's CEO had to call up EA and force DICE to take down microtransactions for the time being. This is no overreaction, this is a long overdue reaction to countless anti-consumer decisions made over the past decade. What matters is the public perception of EA, and we shouldn't have to point that out to any financial analyst because they should see that in the decline of their share value. That did not happen in a vacuum for no reason. Wingren continued by estimating the value of the game for the average player. He said if a gamer spent $60 for the game, an additional $20 per month for loot microtransaction boxes, and played around 2.5 hours a day for 1 year, it roughly comes out to 40 cents per hour of entertainment. This compares to an estimated 60 to 65 cents per hour to pay television, 80 cents per hour for a movie rental, and more than $3 per hour for a movie watched in a theater. He went on to say if you take a step back and look at the data, an hour of video game content is still one of the cheapest forms of entertainment. Quantitative analysis shows that video game publishers are actually charging gamers at a relatively inexpensive price and should probably raise prices. So, there are several issues with this sentiment, but I want to give Wingren the benefit of the doubt first. Anytime you're discussing the value per hour argument, which comes up a lot, video games will seem cheap by comparison. Prices for video games have been relatively stable for a long time. This includes the prices of consoles. It's always ranged within a fairly close margin, and the same can't be said for the price of television or movies. So in that respect, when comparing to other forms of entertainment, Wingren is correct. However, people also believe they're paying too much for movie tickets and cable. These outdated forms of entertainment are being replaced by digital subscription-based streaming services. Even this industry has seen all-you-can-play monthly payment models. But what Wingren truly doesn't understand is the simple fact that video games are completely different. They are a truly unique and interactive medium that offer their own set of unique challenges. First off, many games are not perfect. They rarely launch with 0 issues. Many games require constant patching and updating. Some of those updates break the game and cause more issues in the process. Imagine paying for a movie and one of the scenes towards the end doesn't work properly and you're asked to wait a full week until it's fixed. That just doesn't happen. So from a technical perspective, games are far more advanced than anything else. Battlefront 2 is a perfect example of that. There was a recent update that broke a lot of things in the game, and people who bought the game may not be playing because of it. Games are magnitudes more complex than other forms of entertainment, and that must be accounted for on the consumer's end and in the price. Next, Wingren's average gamer description is not realistic. Very few gamers will play one game for 2.5 hours every single day for a full year. Very few will average that number. While Battlefront 2 has more depth than the previous game, it just doesn't offer enough depth and progression to warrant that much playtime. Unless, of course, you're attempting to unlock absolutely everything, which we've already talked about. It takes an obscene amount of time. Most gamers buy multiple games in a year. Most gamers bounce between them quite often. Most gamers don't spend any money on microtransactions. These are realities. And with a live experience like Battlefront 2, most gamers are at risk of the publisher adding more microtransactions as the game goes on, which can force you to put the game down for good. In an ideal scenario, when people keep playing your game constantly, these numbers make sense, but again, they don't represent the average gamer gamer and shouldn't be compared to the average experience in other forms of entertainment like this. Overall, this financial analyst doesn't seem to understand the situation from the gamer or consumer perspective, and I guess we should expect that, but he does claim to be a gamer. He certainly doesn't act like it. Perhaps he would if he had been along for the ride over the past decade and seen the shift towards games designed to sell microtransactions instead of being focused on delivering a complete experience on day one. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. In the comment section below, tell me what you think about Wall Street's opinion on Battlefront 2. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more commentaries like this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.